Have you ever thought that going on a picnic sounded like a fun idea until you realized all the stuff you have to pack and all the logistics that go into it? I'm going to show you my stress-free ultimate picnic menu. I'm headed out to a winery for an outdoor concert with my insanely talented musician cousin, Ian McFeron, and his band. And last year when I got there, I realized they didn't have any food available for sale. So this year I'm coming prepared and bringing some epic snacks. First, we're going to start by marinating some olives. They are one of my favorite snacky foods, and I personally love these castelvestranos. They're buttery, they're meaty, but they're not quite as briny as some other olives. And while you could just snack on them like this, we're going to ramp up the flavor with some extra seasonings. We're going to go ahead and smash 3 garlic cloves. That way they can just kind of release their essences into the oil and really flavor the oil, which will then flavor the olives that we're marinating. We're also going to add some lemon peel. Nice big strips if you can. Make sure you hold on to your lemon after you've peeled it because we're going to use this for the next recipe. We're going to add some fresh herbs. I have rosemary and thyme, about 2 sprigs of each, but this recipe is very forgiving. You don't have to measure everything perfectly. And we just want that to kind of help season the olive oil and give it a lot more flavor. And then that way, that will help season the olives we're going to marinate. And then we're going to add a pinch of black peppercorns, probably about, I don't know, a dozen or so peppercorns, and then a healthy pinch of red pepper flakes. You can leave this out if you don't like the spice, but I'm a big fan. Now that we have our seasoned olive oil, we can go ahead and add our olives to a bowl. And we're just gonna pour this right over the top while it's nice and warm. And they're really gonna absorb all the flavors. We're gonna let the olives cool fully before we add them to an airtight container, and then they'll stay good in the fridge for at least 2 to 3 days. So it's nice that we can make these in advance. Another thing that can be made in advance is my green goddess goat cheese dip. It's creamy, it's herby, and has just a little hint of funk from the goat cheese. You'll add all your ingredients to the food processor, blend it up, and it'll stay good in the fridge for 2 to 3 days ahead of time. This recipe is packed with fresh herbs, goat cheese, and cream cheese and makes for a bright and herbaceous dip that goes great with fresh veggies. For the star of our meal, we're going to prep a batch of fig, prosciutto, and brie sandwiches on ciabatta. This was actually one of my favorite recipes for my summer cookbook, but I called it a non-recipe because you don't actually have to measure anything out. It's just a matter of assembling the sandwich. Start by cutting the ends off your ciabatta bread. Focaccia also works great here. Spread one side with butter for extra richness and the other side with fig jam. I find this fig butter at Trader Joe's and it's delicious. Then layer the bottom with slices of creamy brie cheese and some thin sliced prosciutto. Top with a handful of fresh arugula for some bitterness and season with olive oil, sea salt, black pepper, and some balsamic glaze to really bump up the flavor. So in order to kind of hold everything together, I cut these strips of butcher paper, and you can use parchment paper, totally works well. And then you're just gonna wrap it around the center of the sandwich. Just nice and tight so that everything just stays all together in there. So you can see everything's held together nice and tight in there, and then I'll use a piece of butcher's twine. This is just some really pretty decorative stuff. Like, this is what picnic food is all about. As you can see, we are all packed and ready to go to the outdoor concert, but you might be thinking, what's for dessert? Between the stress of a busy weekend, soccer games, all that jazz, I just didn't feel like baking something from scratch. So on the way, we're gonna stop and grab a couple of dark chocolate bars, and we can just kind of nibble on those throughout the night and it'll be perfect. We don't have to worry about packing any silverware or really even any paper plates because everything can just be eaten with our fingers, super easy, no cleanup, just less to pack along, and that is the theme of this meal, a stress-free picnic.
What you don't choose, who you love, or what you know how to do.
Please subscribe for more seasonal eats and memorable feasts.